Hello everyone for the second time today. So if you saw my live stream this morning on Jack O'Sullivan, who is missing from Bristol here in the UK, I said, oh, I'll see you tomorrow. But I went out, I did some shopping because I had no food in the house. So I had to go and do food shopping, which I hate doing. Came back and the whole of the UK media is erupting, absolutely erupting about a stolen Rolex worth 12k. And this stolen Rolex story has been rumbling around on social media for days now, but it's received validation by Mark Williams-Thomas. Therefore, the British mainstream media are all running with it. So I came back to talk about it. So that's why I'm here. Again, my live streams are like buses. You know, you don't get one for ages and then two come along at once. Rolex means drugs. All right, well, all right. Stolen drugs, stolen watch, stolen something stolen. All right. Yeah, he did. Absolutely did. Got it all wrong with Nicola Bulley. So sometime last week, I did a live stream about Mark Williams-Thomas. So for those of you who missed that and who don't know anything about Mark Williams-Thomas, so he's a British TV investigator. He was a cop back in the day. He was a detective here in the UK back in the day. But he hasn't been a detective for half a century. He stopped being a detective in the year 2000. So he's done various things, but in recent years, he pops up. What he does is he pops up in the media when there's a high-profile case that's, you know, coming from the UK. So, you know, Madeleine McCann, Nicola Bulley, got it all wrong. And he's here with Jay Slater. So although Jay Slater disappeared from the Spanish island of Tenerife in the Canary Islands, Jay is from the UK. He's from my county, the great county of Lancashire. He's from Oswaldtwistle, which I don't think I've ever been to. But anyway, it's a small, very small town in East Lancashire. I'm in like South Lancashire. I'm almost Greater Manchester, really. I'm on the Greater Manchester border. I can literally walk down the road and have 1 foot in Lancashire and 1 foot in Greater Manchester. So I'm right in the south. Oswaldtwistle's in the east. Anyway, so Mark Williams-Thomas, yeah, crops up. And he made it known. He did a media kind of post. He made it known that he would go over to Tenerife and help the family, which is what he's done. The family have, met with him. He's spoken to a bunch of Jay's friends. So he's doing his own investigation. He did a press conference last week. It was the press conference that I actually came live about, and I went through the press conference. So he's back. Mark Williams-Thomas is back with this story of the stolen Rolex. Like I said, the stolen Rolex has been rumbling along on social media for days now. I can't confirm whether it's true or not, so I've not talked about it. If I can't confirm something is true or even likely true, then I'm very suspicious about it. Like I haven't covered the video, the beach video, where allegedly all you see is figures in the distance. You don't actually see anybody's faces. But this video is doing the rounds, and it's supposedly Jay getting stabbed and Lucy, his friend, like screaming and going, oh God, oh God. You don't know who it is. You don't know whether it's real. You don't know whether it's a real video, but it's been overdubbed with people screaming. You don't know whether it is them. And if it is them, what does it actually mean? We have no idea. So I've never played the video because I can't confirm any of it. Now, if we could look at the faces and say, oh, well, yeah, that does look like Jay and that does look like Lucy, then I'd play it, right? I'd talk about it. But I'm not gonna, because it's just, we've no idea. Is it fake? Is it real? We don't know. But anyway, this stolen Rolex, yeah, it's this video on a beach. It's clearly like several people on a beach. Yes, you can see that. But then these voices don't appear to be coming from anywhere, because the people are in the distance. So how is the camera picking up the voices? I mean, come on now. Anyhow, could be real. Stabbed in the leg, and then you do see someone like in the distance hobbling. So yeah, someone's got a sore leg. They're hobbling along, right? But you don't know who they are. You can't even guess who they might be. So whoever put the video out as overdubbed, you know, with Lucy saying this and Jay saying this and someone else saying, come on. Someone said the audio says crab, not stab. Well, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? That would make more sense if they're on a beach, someone stands on a crab and it nips them. I've been nipped by a crab. They hurt. And it was only a little crab and all. Beach video is from 12 years ago, apparently. There you go, you see. You've no idea. You've no idea whether it's real, whether it's... I mean, it's a real video. Let's be clear, it is a real video, but you don't know whether the voices are real. You don't know whether the voices come from somewhere else. There's no date stamp on the video, so it's silly. All right. But Mark Williams Thomas has validated the stolen Rolex story. And even though irresponsibly, well, we'll get to it. We'll play it. Now, Mark Williams Thomas, the UK media are only playing a tiny snippet of it. They're only literally playing a tiny snippet of it. But there is a 7-minute video that he's put out. So we're going to play the full 7-minute video. Has he backed his statement up with sources or evidence? No. This is the problem. This is the problem with Mark Williams Thomas. But because he's an investigator, because he's met with the family, because he's doing his investigation over in Tenerife, the mainstream media have taken it seriously. They're taking it as this happened. You know, they're saying alleged and all the stuff that they need to say in order not to get themselves sued. But no, there's no evidence. He's talking to Jay's friends. Okay. So yesterday there was a little bit of news. I didn't talk about it because it happened after I'd made my video, and I thought, well, I'm not going to just make a tiny video just about this. There was 2 plainclothes police officers or CSI people, and they donned the forensic suits. You know, they donned the boots and the gloves, and they went into the Airbnb. So that happened yesterday, and there's been speculation in the UK media about that as well. I suspect they've gone in there looking for fingerprints and DNA from Jay, because even though they've been to the Airbnb before, like the cops have been to the Airbnb, they've interviewed the 2 guys who rented out the Airbnb, and Mark Williams Thomas has put out a photo of one of those guys. He said he was going to do it, and he's done it. Anyhow, the police kept them a day. The Spanish police kept those 2 guys that Jay went to the Airbnb with, kept them a day. They were meant to fly home on the Monday, and they weren't allowed to. They had to stay. They were extensively interviewed, and it was deemed that they didn't know anything. They're innocent. Right? That's what it's been deemed. Now, the Spanish police took their passport details. They know where they live. They know where they were going to. So these 2 British guys, right, they've said that they're not relevant to the investigation. They kept them a day, and then they let them go. They let them fly back to the UK. And the British police have said that they don't want to interview them either. Right? It's none of their business. They don't want to interview them either. So as far as we know, the 2 guys from the Airbnb that Jay went to Masca with are innocent. Yet Mark Williams-Thomas has put out a picture of one of them. Given the social media nonsense, I mean, look, just having a picture put out, not a big deal. Unless you're talking about the internet crazies. And then I struggle. I've got a problem with it. Is it true the two men rented the Airbnb but didn't actually stay there? No, they did stay there. They were there. Ophelia said that they'd been in her cafe for coffee a few times. So yeah, they were actually there. I mean, they probably rented the cheapest place they could get, because they weren't going to be there, much, because they were down in the south, at the festival. So it was probably literally somewhere where they could just, put their stuff and maybe go back for a kip. So they probably weren't there very often. And it's 40 euros a night. So now we're getting somewhere. We're not. I don't think we are. All right. So let's do that one. All right. So I'm going to read this from Manchester Evening News first before we get into breaking news. It's all happening. Jay Slater's mum issues new statement on Search and GoFundMe page. All right, well, we'll get to that in a second. But I'm just going to read you this. It's a short article from the Manchester Evening News, just as an example of what all came out in the British media whilst I was food shopping. Do we know whether the two men were a couple? I don't know. Does it matter? Is it possible he went off by his own? He did go off by his own, yeah. He was alone when Ophelia saw him. Look, I'm assuming that the Spanish police aren't too worried about these two guys because Ophelia saw Jay on his own, heading into the mountains, and those two guys weren't with him. They were back in the Airbnb. You mean on purpose? He went off by his own on purpose? Well, he did. He wasn't forced to walk off by his own. He is irresponsible for an ex-cop. He is. The ex-cops are the worst. They really are. They really are. Ex-cops are the worst. There's another one who's I talked about yesterday. Someone called Graham Wetton, who is a ex-cop, who's put his oar in saying, oh, is Jay Slater really missing? And all the media jumped on that. Talked about that yesterday. Anyway, this is just an example. I'm going to read this short article first, and then we'll play the 7-minute Mark Williams-Thomas video. All right, missing Jay Slater has taken a 12K Rolex and was scared leaving Tenerife Airbnb, TV investigator claims. A former British police detective who is helping Jay Slater's family in Tenerife has claimed the teenager was scared when he left an Airbnb rental property and had allegedly taken a £12,000 Rolex before he went missing. So he disappeared on the morning of 17th of June, as we know, after leaving the Airbnb on the north of the island, close to the village of Masca in the rural Diteno Park. Jay from Oswaldtwistle in Lancashire travelled there with two British men after leaving a nightclub in Playa de las Americas. The Playas de las Americas was where the NRG Festival was. Jay and his friends were staying in Los Cristianos, which is close. So instead of going back to Los Cristianos with his friends, Jay came out the NRG Festival at 4 a.m. This is what has been alleged previously. And they were hanging around. They didn't know what to do. And then they all decided to get a hire car and go to Masca, to the Airbnb. And it appears that Jay didn't spend very long there. He can't have spent very long there because we're hearing now that it was approximately 6 a.m. when they got back to this Airbnb, and Jay left the Airbnb at like 7 or 7:30. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why did Jay go back there for like an hour and a half? Like, that bit to me doesn't make sense. It's the kind of thing that a really like spun out guy might do. Like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. Let's go back to Masca. Let's go to these guys' place and party more. And he probably got there, and these two guys probably just went to bed. I don't know. But why he went back there, we don't know. So Mark Williams Thomas has probed a string of high-profile missing persons cases. Yet he's stuck his oar in. Hasn't been a police detective since the year 2000. So never worked on the Madeleine McCann case as a police detective. Never worked on the Nicola Bulley case or any of these high-profile cases as an actual detective. He's just a media personality. But the media love him because he spills a lot of stuff. JB News says a journalist reveals forensic police are back at the Airbnb. Yeah, they were there yesterday. It was yesterday. That's yesterday's news. They were there for 2 hours. I think they went to take samples to basically prove that Jay was actually there, because there's a lot of talk that Jay never actually went to Masca, that it's all a big setup. And they probably thought, well, let's just prove he was there. So I think that the forensics have gone in to dust for fingerprints and take like swabs of DNA to prove that Jay was actually there. That's my opinion. They may have been there for other reasons as well. But, they've got to dot the I's, cross the T's, don't they? All right. So has now claimed that Jay would have been feeling scared when he left the property on Monday morning. In a video filmed yesterday, July 2nd, and posted on X, formerly Twitter, today, the investigator said, "We've received information that would suggest that Jay left the rental property feeling scared, and he would not return to the rental, even though that would have been the most sensible course of action." Now, we have heard from Lucy that Jay didn't know where he was. Now, that's what Lucy said in her interview with the news, like way back, like very early on in the case. Lucy said that he didn't know where he was. So was Lucy lying? Was Lucy, saying what maybe she knew? Maybe she knew why he didn't want to go back there, and she's not said. But my thumbnail, like the little picture you see when you click on the video, who's Rolex? Because look, if it's true, let's just propose here that it's true that Jay did steal the Rolex. Why would he be scared, like leaving the Airbnb? The only reason he'd be scared is if the Rolex belonged to one of the guys from the Airbnb. Surely. Yeah, there you go, Chris. Thank you. Did Jay steal a watch from the Masca dudes and had to get away sharpish? That's the only reason I can see why you would be scared. Because if he'd stolen a Rolex at the festival, right, just, took it off someone or saw someone drop it and put it in his pocket and didn't say anything and just thought, oh, look at this, I've got a Rolex. He wouldn't be, he wouldn't be scared, would he? Why would he be scared? Why would he be scared? So is it because the Rolex belonged to one of these guys? So, maybe the guys fell asleep and he thought, oh, they've got a Rolex, I'm going to steal it. So he knew he couldn't go back. But that's assuming that what Mark Williams Thomas is saying is true. With no evidence that it's actually true. Fluffy Bunny, I have the Snapchat if you want it. Yeah, send it to me. Fluffy Bunny. Apparently, Jay tweeted he had a Rolex worth 15k. Well. Yeah, probably a fake Rolex, yeah. It wasn't a Rolex. Well, if it wasn't a Rolex, then what is Mark Williams Thomas talking about? Yeah. So Lucy, 18, said when he last called her, he said he was in the middle of nowhere trying to get home with no water and 1% battery. That was the last time anyone heard from him. Mr. Williams Thomas said that Jay had returned to the Airbnb could have returned to the Airbnb to charge his phone and get some water, but chose not to. The former detective also claimed that Jay had posted a Snapchat saying that he'd taken a £12,000 Rolex from a person. Well, who? Whose Rolex? We are unable to validate this. So you're going to put this out. The British media are all going to run with it. But you can't validate it. You can't validate that it's an actual theft. So, calling Jay a thief. You're calling him a thief with no evidence. Great. Fantastic. So the friends say that he stole a Rolex, and you're going to believe them with absolutely no validation other than a Snapchat. Friends of Jay say he would not make this up, and the watch was subject to later conversation between the friends. Detailing the teenager's last movements, Mr. Williams Thomas claims the evidence is that Jay walked off on the rental, walked for about 30 minutes, and then sent his location at 8:49 and 8:50, and we know where he was at that stage, off the road and a track with loose stones. He added, I want to make an appeal for landowners in the area of the rural park to check any outbuildings and land that they have in hope that further searches will continue by volunteers in the area not yet searched. Mr. Williams Thomas said he's spoken to a significant number of witnesses, both here in the UK and in Tenerife. Why are you speaking to people in the UK? They don't know. Unless they were in Tenerife at the time and they're now in the UK. That makes sense. But otherwise, including Jay's friends who are fully engaged with us. Jay's family, including his mum, Debbie Duncan, dad, Warren Slater, and older brother, Zach, remain in Tenerife as they continue to search for answers into his disappearance. Last night, Debbie described the family's agony as she issued a statement issued through the British Overseas Missing Persons charity, LBT Global. She said, we are a very close family and are absolutely devastated about his disappearance. Words cannot describe the pain and agony we are experiencing. He's our beautiful boy with his whole life ahead of him, and we just want to find him. She added, Jay is a normal guy who is in his third year of an apprenticeship. He is a very popular young man with a large circle of friends. We do not have any information on his whereabouts. The Guardia Civil has worked tirelessly up in the mountains where Jay's last phone call was traced. They conducted a land search for 12 days, which involved every resource they had available. Although the land search ended, the Spanish police still continue with their investigations into why Jay has travelled to the location so far away from his accommodation. We offer our sincere thanks to the Spanish authorities who continue to follow lines of inquiry. After almost 2 weeks of hunting for the teenager in vast and mountainous terrain, police called off the search on the ground for him. On June 30th, they said officers would continue to act on any tip-offs or other information that came in, but the active work that had been going on since the apprentice bricklayer was reported missing would cease. All right, so that's a statement. Now, Manchester Evening News said there was breaking news, so I don't know whether that's true or not. Let's have a look just to see if there's anything breaking. And then we'll go to Mark Williams Thomas on Twitter. Let's do last hour. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, so missing Jay Slater's mum issues new statement on search and GoFundMe page money. All right, she's offered a new statement on the search for her son and detailed how the remaining money raised by the GoFundMe page set up following his disappearance will be spent. So she iterated her family statement issued yesterday while updating people anxiously following the search efforts. Posted on the GoFundMe page that has raised almost £50,000, she said, alongside money for local volunteers and mountain rescue, the family is also putting together a package of equipment for British searchers who have flown to Tenerife. The Mirror reports. She said, "Hi again. Your generosity has been vast, and we are so grateful for all of your support and kindness during this unimaginable time for our family." As I said in my official statement, so that's what we just read, that was from yesterday, the Spanish police conducted a land search for 12 days, which involved every resource they had available. Although the land search ended, the Spanish police still continue with their investigations into why Jay travelled to the location so far away from his accommodation. All right, I've read that. All right, so we offer our sincere thanks to Spanish authorities who continue to follow lines of inquiry. We've read that as well. Okay, so we're currently looking after Paul Arnott. So he's the TikToker who is a search and rescue person he does search and rescue in the Scottish Highlands, and he's been over in Tenerife now for about, I want to say about 10 days. So they've been buying his food, they've bought him equipment, they've just been looking after him while he's been there. So currently looking after Paul Arnott, putting together a package of any equipment and essentials he needs, and going up to do a drop for him. We are also supporting Callum Fahim and his group with accommodation and other essentials. So I don't know who Callum is. Must be another searcher. The remaining funds will continue to be used to support the rescue teams who are tirelessly searching for Jay, as well as our own expenses as we remain in Tenerife looking for our boy. So that's Paul. He's down the rapids on TikTok. So I've played some of his TikToks in videos. So useful stuff that he puts out. We will continue to keep you all updated on the progress of our GoFundMe page, and we thank you for your continued support. Please keep sharing and supporting our fundraiser to help us bring Jay home. Paul Arnott is a British TikToker who flew to Tenerife following news that Jay had gone missing, and has documented his experience since landing on the Spanish island. He's amongst the few dozen people who joined what was supposed to be a massive search over rocky countryside last weekend. While Miss Duncan has praised Spanish police participating in the operation, Mr. Arnott has been critical of the official effort, blasting the weekend search as a massive PR thing. He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy that so few people turned up. Speaking in one TikTok, he said, "So guys, I've literally been waiting for absolutely ages now. This is a massive PR thing. I'm telling you now, there's people everywhere, literally people everywhere, and nobody is doing anything." He was very frustrated. All right. So Mark Williams Thomas. So this was posted earlier on Twitter. So this is Mark Williams Thomas on Twitter. Okay. With so much speculation and inaccurate information and reporting, here is an update on our investigation into Jay Slater's disappearance. Please listen carefully. There'll be a test. Please listen carefully to my overview. We have had full access to witnesses, and our investigation is evidence-based and remains ongoing at this time. All right, so it's nearly 8 minutes. So we're going to play this in its entirety because the British media have only played it, snippets of it. So we're going to listen to it all. So because he said, please listen carefully. So we are going to. All right. I'll turn my volume up. Okay, let's go.
It is now into the 16th day since 19-year-old Jay Slater vanished in Tenerife. In that time, his disappearance has attracted worldwide media attention and as such, extensive coverage on social media. This has led to massive speculation with theories at times very misleading and with inaccurate information. Overwhelmingly, people are fascinated and as such want to do their bit to help, whether that be doing their own detective work or just providing comment. What people often lose sight of or don't consider, and I'm sure a number don't even care, is that Jay's family and close friends read a lot of what's posted online and in the media. And some of it has been very unfair and unkind to a family who right now are in total shock and despair. So please just think before you post, and if you would not say it to your loved one who's missing, then don't say it or post it now. As is a way with this high-profile missing persons investigations, the public and the media want official information. And when this is void, they fill it themselves. I flew out to Tenerife on Monday the 24th.
I do actually agree with him there. I do agree with him there on two counts. You don't start slagging off the family unless there's something that you absolutely know. Don't go, oh, they look shady, or they look shady, and saying stuff that you wouldn't say, you wouldn't want saying about yourself. You wouldn't want saying about your own loved ones if somebody in your family went missing. So I agree with him there. And also, I forgot what I was saying now. I've gone completely blank. Hold on a minute.
Who's missing, then don't say it or post it to a family who right now are in total shock and despair. So please just think before you post, and if you would not say it to your loved one who's missing, then don't say it or post it now. As is a way with this high-profile missing persons investigations, the public and the media want official information. And when this is void...
I went completely blank on the second thing. I say this in every case. Where the police aren't saying anything, nothing at all, then social media will fill in the void. Mainstream media is a little bit more reluctant to come out with stuff because they're scared of getting sued, but social media will run with anything. So the Spanish police in saying nothing is a problem because there's this massive void. People want information, and if they're not getting it from official channels, then they'll make it up. So I say that in any case where there's, the police are being very quiet and whatever. Now, obviously, we don't want them saying stuff that, could hamper the investigation. We don't want that. But just having updates is useful. It is useful. Thank you, Gamma, for the $10. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. People no longer care about receipts. Isn't that true? That is so true. So true. All right.
They fill it themselves. I flew out to Tenerife on Monday the 24th, directly to help the family, using my team to help Jay's family get some clarity and answers. My trip and investigation has been fully funded by myself. And many of you will have seen my statement I made on Wednesday afternoon, setting out the parameters and the focus of my investigation.
Yeah, I did a live stream on that, and I was very critical, not of every single thing he said, but him saying, if these two guys don't come forward, if these two guys who Jay went to the Airbnb with don't come forward, then I'm going to release their details. I've got a photo of one of them. I'm going to release it. And I was very critical of that because the internet is a hateful place, and you put out a photo of somebody who the internet considers a suspect. That is a recipe for disaster. Some guy will get absolutely hounded, and it's unnecessary. The Spanish cops know who they are. They know exactly where they're from, and they interviewed them. They made them stay a day. Right, they didn't let them just go. They made them stay. They interviewed them extensively, and they realized that they were not relevant to the investigation. They didn't know anything. Yeah, they went to, they took him back to their Airbnb, and then he left. That's it. And he was seen alive and well after he left there. So it's not them that's responsible for his disappearance. So I was critical of Mark Williams-Thomas for making that statement.
I'm now back in the UK and have been in contact with Jay's family throughout and kept them updated constantly with the result of my ongoing investigation, making inquiries both in the UK and back in Tenerife. Jay's family were provided with my preliminary findings on Friday, the 28th of June. I've spoken to lots of witnesses, and have a clear picture now of what happened overnight of Sunday the 16th of June through to the morning of Monday the 17th of June. I'm now in a position to release some of that detail. I'm doing so given the massive interest in this case, mainly to provide some clarity and to clear up the total inaccuracies and misreporting of information which is neither helpful to the police, my investigation, nor, crucially, to the family. We know that shortly before 6 a.m. on Monday the 17th of June, Jay left the area of Veronica's Strip, Las Americas, in a Seat Leon hire car with...
Right, okay, so he left just before 6 a.m. Just before 6 a.m. And it takes, 45, 50 minutes to get to Masca. So I assumed, right, my kind of timeline in my head, I knew that the festival had finished at 4. So they hang around, they sat on a wall debating what to do. And then they decided to jump in a taxi or a hire car and go to Masca. So that would have got them there, maybe 5, just after. But now we've got just before 6, they decide to go to Masca. So this is a 45, 50-minute drive to Masca. And then Jay leaves at like 7:30. So he literally gets there and then leaves. Why? That's my biggest unanswered question. Why would you go all the way there? Maybe you didn't realize how far it was. Maybe you didn't realize how far it was. That's maybe what, the truth of the matter is. He was wasted, absolutely wasted. Wasn't, in his right mind. And the guys just said, come back to my Airbnb. And he went, oh, all right then. All right. And didn't realize it was going to take, it took so long. And then he gets there. There's nothing there except mountains. And he thinks, shit, what am I doing here? I'm going to get a bus back. I don't know.
2 males casually known to him. Jay and a number of his friends had spent time with them both over the previous 2 days. All 3 males, including Jay, then travelled north via the main motorway, the TF1, to go to the 2 males' holiday rental Casa Abu Latina in Masca, which was about an hour's drive away. En route...
It's not an hour. It's not an hour. It's 50... hold on a minute. All right, let's... it's nearly an hour. It's the best part of an hour. Hold on, where am I? Here we go. All right. So, player... what's it called? The Americas, is it? That one. Okay. All right. 41 minutes. 41 minutes. So 6 o'clock, they decide that they're going to go there. So he gets there at, let's say, 20 to 7, 20 to quarter to 7, and then he leaves. Are we talking 2 different Airbnbs? No. The Airbnb that we're talking about is the one in Masca, this one. Hold on a minute, this one. So Jay and his friends were staying in Los Cristianos. That's the Airbnb. And the cafe, I think the Airbnb is at the top. The cafe is at the bottom. There's the bus stop. So to where the festival was, there. Where the festival was in Playas de las... I've gone all over the shop now. There we go. 41 minutes. There. But Jay and his friends were staying in Los Cristianos, which is down here. So Jay and his friends should have just gone back there. His friends went back there, back to their accommodation. But he decided to go on this mad drive with these two guys. Gets there and then decides to leave. Scared, says Mark Williams Thomas. Scared.
Jay posted a Snapchat saying that he'd taken a £12,000 Rolex from a person. We've been unable to validate this in terms of a reported theft. However, friends of Jay said he would not make this up, and the watch was subject of later conversation between the friends.
So he can't verify it, but going to put it out anyway. Is the cat okay? Yeah, she was sick. She's fine. She's absolutely fine. So the Snapchat was taken, hold on,
2 days. All three males, including Jay, then travelled north via the main motorway, the TF1, to go to the two males' holiday rental Casa Abu Latina in Masca, which was about an hour's drive away. En route, Jay posted a Snapchat.
All right, so this is where the Snapchat,
saying that he'd taken
where the Snapchat was from. So Snapchat filmed there. All right. Well, anyway, on the route. So on the way there, he Snapchats his friends saying, "Oh, by the way, I stole a Rolex." Okay. So he went back to sell them the watch. Well, could he not just have sold them the watch there? Like they were all there. If he had the watch with him, why did they have to drive for 41 minutes to sell them the watch? Maybe to get the money, maybe collect the money. Yeah, could be. I don't know. Maybe they said, we'll buy the watch off you. But you'll have to come back to our place to get the money. To get the cash. Maybe.
£12,000 Rolex from a person. We've been unable to validate this in terms of a reported theft. However, friends of Jay said he would not make this up, and the watch was subject of later conversation between the friends. Not long after arriving at the rental, Jay, around 7 a.m, had contact with various friends via social media, both inside and outside the rental. And during these calls, various videos, chats were had and pictures sent, including the one he took on the doorstep that many of you will have seen.
So he had various conversations. So we've heard the last conversation was with Lucy. Lucy said, about 8:15 or 8:30, they had a conversation and his battery was only on 1%. But he's had numerous conversations. So probably the reason why his battery was on 1% was because he'd been chatting for like an hour. He'd probably been chatting to various people, like video chatting them, and his battery will just die. Right? If you video chatting for an hour, your battery's gone. Right? So having various conversations, we know he was out walking when he spoke to Brad, but he'd already left. So he's having conversations both in the Airbnb and after he left the Airbnb. So he left he left Playas de Americas at 6. It's a 41-minute drive. So he's there for 20 minutes and then he decides to leave, according to Mark Williams Thomas's timeline. So did he just go to get some cash? Maybe they said, we'll buy that watch off you. We've got cash at our place, but you'll have to come back to get the cash. Maybe that's the answer. But Mark Williams Thomas hasn't given us any proof that this theft even actually took place All we've got is a Snapchat that he sent to his friends. We've got no proof. Like, have we got any proof that, you know, somebody had reported? Presumably, if you have a £12,000 watch stolen, presumably you report that to the police. Presumably you report that to the police. So is there any proof that a theft has actually taken place that has been reported to the police?
I am confident that that photograph on the doorstep is him, wearing a throw, a blanket from the apartment, and his black and green Air Max trainers.
I'm confident it's him as well. I'm confident it's him. I don't believe the story that Jay was never in Masca and that it was Brad and Lucy who went to Masca and just threw his phone away. I don't believe that. I do believe that Jay was there. I do believe Jay was there. What I do have a problem with, though, is him stating that a theft took place, the British media rolling with this when there's no proof. When there's no proof.
Which he had on the night that he went out. We know at around 8 a.m. there was a level of communication with the host of the rental property in which she communicated by hand digits to him that the bus was leaving at 10 a.m. from the bus stop right by the apartment. With this, Jay walked off, turning left and up the hill. We know that Jay used an Apple iPhone, and the Apple Maps takes you that route up the hill, walking back to Los Cristianos, where he was staying. Whilst on the walk, he talked to and messaged his friends. Whilst walking, Jay spoke to at least 3 people, telling them that he was lost, with little phone battery and without water. He was told to go back by 2 people to the rental. He said he could not do that and that he'd already been walking 30 minutes.
So he couldn't do that. Mark Williams Thomas thinks he was too scared to go back, even though he could have done. So at that point, he could have turned around and gone back to the Airbnb to get water. He could have gone to the cafe to get water, but he chose not to.
And that he was now off-road and was walking on a track where there were loose stones. We know that at 8:49 and at 8:50, Jay sent his location via both Snapchat and WhatsApp to 2 friends. We can confirm that it was Jay using his phone at that stage.
So he says that they can confirm that it was Jay using his phone at that stage. So the place where it was like there, around here. So just go back.
Then at 8:49 and at 8:50, Jay sent his location via both Snapchat and WhatsApp.
Right, so the cruise hit the Hildas here. All right, so it's along this stretch. So we've gone off road and it's going down this stretch here, somewhere along here. So there's cruise to Hilda.
And at 8:50.
All right, so there's that little bit and then up a bit. Okay. So there. Actually a bit further up. So he's on this trail, pretty much on this trail. So there. So that's where he was. That's where he was. So he's going down the Barranco Juan Lopez trail at 8:49 and at 8:50. He sent his location. Okay.
Jay sent his location via both Snapchat and WhatsApp to 2 friends. We can confirm that it was Jay using his phone at that stage, and there was no indication that he was with anyone. The location is fixed by GPS, and we've done tests in the area, and it's accurate to 5 to 10 meters.
All right, so it's GPS, so it's not a phone ping that can be off by a mile, right? Because we've been talking about phone pings, right? So in an area where there's only one cell tower, and in an area where there's lots of peaks and valleys, a phone ping can be off by a long way. But GPS is very, very accurate, within a few yards. So that's where he was. That's definitely where he was at 8:49. That is where he was. So I do believe Jay was in Masca. I do believe Jay was on his own. I believe he chose not to go back to the Airbnb for a reason. So he could have saved himself. He chose not to. Why believe his friends? Well, why believe his friends? You could ask that to Mark Williams-Thomas. I'm saying that personally, it's my opinion that Jay was there. Personally, my opinion that I do believe the story as far as that goes. I have to believe that with Mark Williams-Thomas putting all of this out, I have to believe that he's got some kind of evidence that Jay was there and Jay was there on his own. Having said that, he's not got the evidence that there was a theft. So make of it all what you will. Make of it all what you will.
The fixed point is the Barranco Joan Lopez hiking path, which fits the description given by the witnesses that spoke to him, stating that he was on a stony path and having walked 30 minutes from the rental apartment. From this point, no further contact is had with Jay because his phone battery dies. We've received information that would suggest that Jay left the rental property feeling scared and he would not return to the rental, even though that would have been the most sensible course of action, and also where he could have charged his phone, got some water, and made contact with friends. We continue to investigate this aspect.
So why was he scared? The only reason why he would be scared, because these guys didn't follow him. He wasn't so scared that he went to seek help. Like, if these guys were going to chase him, if these guys had assaulted him, he could have sought help. There's Ophelia there in the cafe. There's numerous properties around in the immediate vicinity. He could have gone and got help. If he was that scared, he could have gone and raised the alarm. He chose not to. So what evidence does Mark Williams-Thomas have that Jay was actually scared? Was he scared? Like, let's imagine he was scared. Was he scared because he'd robbed these 2 guys and he knew he couldn't go back to save himself, and he couldn't go back to the neighbours in case the 2 guys had already raised the alarm that they'd been robbed? That's just a speculation. It's the only reason I can think why somebody wouldn't raise the alarm if you've been assaulted or you've been threatened and there's people. Why wouldn't you just go to safety? Why wouldn't you go to safety? These guys, they've roughed me up. These guys, they've, I don't know, whatever. You could just go and sit in the cafe for 2 hours. He could literally just gone and sat in the cafe for 2 hours where he would have been safe. So he's not scared because these guys are chasing him. So why is he scared? What does Mark Williams-Thomas have as evidence that Jay is scared? And how does the Rolex fit in it? How does the Rolex story fit with being scared leaving the Airbnb? Have I seen the apparent stabbing video? Yeah, I talked about that at the beginning. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I don't believe it.
We have, however, ruled out hostage kidnapping situation because no credible ransom demand has been made.
All right, so they're not raising GoFundMe money to free Jay from a kidnapping scenario. I've always thought that was ridiculous, but there you go. No, not true.
We've no evidence at this stage to say there was a third-party criminal involvement in Jay's disappearance. However, there are still a number of outstanding actions, and therefore we still remain open-minded to the possibility of this changing. The evidence is that Jay walked off from the rental, walked for about 30 minutes, and then sent his location at 08:49 and 08:50. And we know that he was at that stage off the road on a track with loose stones. And we have that fixed as a location on GPS. I now want to make an appeal for landowners in the area of Tino Rural Park to check any outbuildings and land that they have in the hope that further searches will continue by volunteers in the area not yet searched. I've largely remained silent to date with our investigation, not giving any interviews, but have felt the need to make a statement now to clear up facts, which I've advised the family I would be doing. This has been done as I hope it will enable people to accept the evidential facts and thus reduce the number of mis and inaccurate reports and information that are being publicised and circulated. You will appreciate that as part of our investigation, we have spoken to a significant number of witnesses, both here in the UK and in Tenerife, including Jay's friends who are fully engaged with us. And as such, we've received a significant amount of both personal and sensitive information. We've even spoken to significant individuals in the drugs fraternity in Tenerife. Much of that information is highly sensitive, and so therefore we will not be releasing it. We continue our investigation to try and find out what happened to Jay. And if you have any information, please either contact the police in Tenerife, or you can contact us anonymously through the many forms of social media or through our hotline. Thank you.
So there's the hotline. So, what do you make to all that? I mean, to me, I think it's pretty responsible to say that Jay had stolen a Rolex, whether that's an actual watch or whether it's drugs. It doesn't matter. A theft has took place. I think it's pretty irresponsible to put that out without having actual evidence that it happened. But what I can see is that it would be reasonably easy to find out whether it was actually Jay in Masca. And I believe it was. I believe it was Jay in Masca. I believe he walked off on his own. I believe that he didn't go back to the Airbnb for a reason. I don't think he was so lost at that point when his phone died. I don't think he was lost to the point where he couldn't have got back to the Airbnb at that point, because if he was here, so on the Branco Juan Lopez Trail at 8:49, well, you just keep walking. You just retrace your steps along the road, and it's right there. When you get to here, you can see it. Like if we go down to street level here, like you can't see it from there, but once you get over this crest and go around this corner, you can actually see it. Go around this corner here, Whoa, I don't know how then. But you go around this hairpin bend and you can actually see it. So, you know, you can get that. You could go there and see it. There you go. You literally just go around the corner and there it is. That's where you've come from. That's where you've come from. So he, at 8:49, when he sent his location, he wasn't so lost that he couldn't have saved himself. The problem for Jay was that he couldn't go back there. Now, they've ruled out a kidnapping scenario. They've ruled out the fact that Jay was with someone, so left under duress. And they've ruled out that, you know, that he was assaulted in any way. Jay himself has ruled that out. Like I said, Jay himself has ruled that out because he spoke to Ophelia. He spoke to Ophelia, asked what time the bus was. He didn't say, those two guys are crazy in there. Those two guys have assaulted me. Those two guys have threatened me. He's not said that, has he? Or he's not, you know, just gone and sat in the cafe where there was safety. He's chosen to walk away. Now, if it's true what Mark Williams Thomas said, and there's no evidence at this moment in time that it is true, let's just be clear on that he was scared, then why was he scared? If he wasn't kidnapped, he wasn't assaulted, he wasn't chased, why was he scared to go back? And the only reason I can see for him being scared to go back is that he robbed them. He robbed them and walked away. That's the only thing I can think. So there's a £12,000 Rolex lost in the mountains in Masca, allegedly, according to Mark Williams Thomas. And there may be other stuff as well. There may be other stuff out there. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of the latest Mark Williams Thomas offering. Don't know what to make of it. But what I do know, what I am confident of, that I've been confident of right from the jump, is that Jay is on this mountain somewhere. That Jay is on this mountain somewhere and he just hasn't been found yet. I don't think he's been kidnapped. I don't think he's been abducted. I don't think he's been murdered even. He walked off on his own, and I believe he's still there. I think he encountered a terrible accident, and he's probably in one of these deep ravines. As I keep saying, people are saying to me, Michelle, why'd you say the same thing every video? Because I'm countering all of the nonsense. I believe he's down one of these deep ravines. If not this one, then maybe that one. Look at that. Maybe he tried to be clever. Maybe he did get down to the beach. Maybe he tried to be clever, thinking, well, if I just walk along the beach, I can get to my accommodation. Maybe he fell in the sea. If he managed to get down to the beach, and it's very rocky, but it's possible. You get down to the beach, he decides to walk, and he can't get very far, can he? Because of all these cliffs. Can't get very far. But if you thought, oh, I can get to the beach and I can just walk along and eventually I'll come to my accommodation. Was Lucy working out there? Not as far as I know. Rolex or ecstasy pills? Well, people have said Rolex or cocaine. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter whether it's a watch. It doesn't matter whether it's drugs. We're talking about something being stolen. Right? Whatever was stolen, Mark Williams Thomas is claiming that Jay stole it. that his friends got a Snapchat from him claiming that he'd stolen a Rolex or something worth £12,000. You don't think he got as far as the beach? I don't know. I think it's possible. Now whoa. I've ended up on a different island. The reviews. I showed some reviews for this trail on a previous video, and like, you have to be a serious hiker to attempt this walk. You know, it's not something that you can do just as a Sunday afternoon stroll. It's hard. And there's lots of, cactuses. You've got to stay on the trail, or else you just get caught up by loads and loads of cactuses. But people who've made it down to the beach say that the descent is hard, but the ascent is harder. Like, you're going up some serious rocks. So maybe he made it down to the beach, realised that he actually can't walk all the way around here, and thought, he's just assuming that a beach is like a big sandy thing. He sees the sea. You can see the sea from the top of the mountain, and he thinks, the sea's there. I'll just walk along the beach. I'll have a chat to people, and I'll get there eventually. I'm not in any rush. And he realizes he can't walk. It's all cliffs, and he decides to walk back. And maybe he's fallen, had an accident, whether it's on his way down or whether it's on his way up. But I believe he's there. I believe he's there in one of these ravines. I really do. And they're difficult to search. Like, the search dogs can't get down there. The search dogs can't even get halfway down there because of the cactuses. They're too prickly. They can't send dogs through cactuses. It's too prickly, too painful for them. So the search dogs haven't searched it. And you have to have some serious gear, like, to be safe. Like, just like, cops just having a walk about with binoculars, they can't go down these ravines. You need to get down to the bottom of the ravines where Jay may have fallen. Then you need ropes, and you need equipment, and you need the expertise to be able to do it. And I think it will be when you get those experts with the relevant gear there that they'll find him. If he's there. Why not send robot dogs? do they have robot dogs? Do they have search robots that could navigate that kind of terrain? I don't think so. What, like the Mars rover? No, the Mars rover always breaks down. No, it's very steep. You can't send anything down there except for people with harnesses and ropes down to the bottom of those ravines. I know where Down the Rapids is searched. At least I know what he's put on his TikTok. He got down one of these ravines, and then I had to turn back because he needed ropes to go any further. Drones can't see down there. I mean, there's been loads of drones and helicopters, but they can't see down there. Those ravines are too deep. So what you're seeing on Google is just what the satellite is showing you. What you can't see on Google are things like ledges and caves. So if he'd fallen and he'd kind of fallen off a ledge, so he's underneath a ledge, and no drone, no helicopter, no one is going to be able to see him from above. You'd have to actually be down there. If he's managed to crawl into a cave, of which there are many, you will not see him unless you're actually there. It is a no-fly zone for drones, but the police are allowed to use them. The police have used drones. Has Michelle gone to check Abdul out? Michelle is purposefully not checking Abdul out because Abdul is not a suspect. And Abdul has a right to privacy. If the police declare him a suspect, then I'll check him out. Thank you, Peach Cobbler, for the $9.99. Thank you so much. Thank you from across the pond. Paul won't search that ravine at the moment. No, he doesn't have ropes. He doesn't have the right equipment. So he needs ropes and a harness. And you'd be very stupid to do it on your own. Even if you've got all the equipment, you'd be stupid to do it on your own. Did I get your email, Fluffy Bunny? Let me have a look. I don't know. I did. I got 3 emails from you, in fact. Hold on. Let me just save these. All right. Okay, so these are the 2. All right, so we've got this. Okay. Yes, because ended up getting thrown out of the me with 2 what? Maley kids. Just took an AP of some cunt on the way to sell it for 10 quid. I don't know what that means. Okay. So that's 9:41 p.m. All right. Then we've got this. This is 9:40 p.m. I'm assuming that's not when this was taken. I'm assuming that's when the person sent this. Here's the photo of Jay on the way to sell the watch. How do we know he is, though? How do we know he is? I mean, this is the snap that I received off Jay talking about the watch. Well, that doesn't tell me that he's going to sell a Rolex or he's stolen a Rolex. That doesn't tell me that. Unless I don't understand like young person speak anymore. What's an AP? I don't know. If you can't listen to the shouting, Jedi Lego Arts, Turn your volume down. Why not turn your volume down? An AP is a watch brand. Oh, it's the watch. What does it stand for? Oh, Mali's Somalian. Oh, got you. AP is a luxury watch. All right, hold on. I don't have a watch. Expensive or otherwise. Orderman's Peak. What? Luxury. Watch. Check these out. How about one of them? 99,000, 100 grand. You could buy that for 100 grand. How about that? Do you want that? 100 grand, I'll buy 3. I'll buy 1 for each arm. 31.5 grand, used. 53.5 grand, used. That's used. They're all used. They're all used. 300 grand. 300 grand for a watch. Come on now. Well, you have to be a rich bastard to have one of these watches. Does that tell? What does that do? What does that do more than a 10 quid watch down the road? What does that do? What time does that give you? Does that give you magic time? What does it do? It gives you magic time. It takes you back in time. It takes you forward in time. It'd have to be a frigging time machine for me to spend any amount of money on a watch. I'm not going to spend a tenner on a watch. Never mind 300 grand on a watch. Not that I've got 300 grand, but my house isn't my house. If I sold my house, I wouldn't even have enough to buy that watch. It's ugly. It's an ugly bugger anyway. Why would you want that? What do you want that for? Come on now. The thing is, it was with the Somalians when he stole the watch. So he didn't steal it off them. Oh, I got you right. Oh, I see. Oh, I got you. I see. So why was he scared? You know, according to Mark Williams Thomas, why was he scared when he left there? Yeah, I use my phone as well, yeah. Not that you really need to know the time. You know, you can just wing it like I do. Like, you get there eventually. So I ended up getting thrown out of there. Me with 2 Mali kids just took an AP off some cunt on the way to sell it for 10 quid. All right. I don't know what to tell you. Don't think he was scared. I've heard they didn't have a buyer at their place, so he left and didn't want to go back. Maybe he didn't want to go back. Maybe he thought he could just go down to the beach and then walk around the corner and there would be his accommodation. That does mean he didn't steal it off the guys at the Airbnb. No, but what it could mean is that they said they'd buy it, and if he came back to theirs, he'd give them they'd give him the cash. And maybe he went back there. Maybe they didn't have the cash. Maybe they lied. Maybe they laughed at him when he got there. They laughed and said, "Oh, you came all this way for nothing." Maybe he was mad. Maybe he wasn't scared. Maybe he was mad. Or maybe, like I said, maybe he robbed them. And that's why he couldn't go back. Maybe they gave him the cash and then fell asleep. And when they fell asleep, he had the cash and he took the watch. He took the watch as well. So, I don't know. Or it could all be nonsense because we've no proof, zero proof, that this theft actually happened. You know, we don't know whether Jay was talking crap on this text, on this Snapchat. Young people say 10 quid for 10 grand. Do they? Well, when I say, have you got 10 quid? I mean, have you got 10 pounds? So 10 quid nowadays is 10 grand. All right, so that makes sense then. So he's with these two Somalians who tell him they've got 10 grand back at their place. So he goes back with them. He gets there. Either they don't have 10 grand or they've got 10 grand. Why would you take 10 grand to a festival anyway? And he takes that 10 grand. Inflation. Inflation. Yeah. Yeah. Inflation. I've never heard a kid say 10 quid for 10 grand. I haven't either. 10k, yeah. Yeah, I say 10k. Or a band, a grand. Wristwatch, band in hand. Oh dear. 10 bags equals 10 grand. So not 10 quid. 10 quid. 10 quid is 10 pounds. Yeah, 10 quid is 10 pounds. Which doesn't buy you anything. Doesn't buy you anything these days. So 10k, you say 10k or 10 grand is 10,000. Yeah, we all say quid. And we've said quid forever. Quid's forever. A bag is 1,000. So if you said 10 bags, that's 10 grand. 10k. Did the watch survive the fall? The watch will not have survived the fall. No. The watch will be smashed to smithereens. If indeed the watch even exists. What's an AP? An expensive watch, apparently. These things here. An Audemars Piguet. This is how expensive they are. 99 grand. 31.5 grand. 53.5 grand. 29 grand. Oh, that's a cheap one. 58 grand. So high-end watches. So you have to be a rich bastard to buy this kind of watch. And it gives you magic time. Gives you magic time. Yeah. PK. Is it Swiss? No idea. Yeah, Mark Williams Thomas, how I caught Jimmy Savile. No, he didn't. He didn't catch Jimmy Savile. He wasn't a police officer when the whole Jimmy Savile thing came out. And the whole Jimmy Savile thing only came out after Jimmy Savile had died. So no, Mark Williams Thomas did not catch Jimmy Savile. He also didn't work on the Madeleine McCann investigation. He also didn't work on the Nicola Bulley investigation. All he did was he went and stood by the River Wire and gave a theory that wasn't true. That absolutely was not true. So what Mark Williams Thomas has said on this video that's on Twitter, I'm going to take with a grain of salt, unless he can show the evidence that a watch actually was stolen. All right, Snapchat's fine, but did Jay actually steal a watch or anything? Did Jay steal anything? And what was the reason why he went to Masca and then left, like within 20 minutes, and was too scared to go back? If it didn't involve something like a robbery, like Jay robbing them. So there's no crime except the crime that Jay committed. So there's no crime like against Jay, but according to what Mark Williams Thomas, Jay committed the crime. So there is crime involved that the police are probably investigating, but it's Jay that actually committed the crime. So the British media are having an absolute field day with this. Absolute field day with it. Crazy days out there. I mean, literally, I did a live stream this morning. Logged off my live stream about 1 p.m. Went food shopping about 2 p.m. And by the time I got back, the whole of the media had erupted because Mark Williams Thomas had released this video of the Rolex watch. Now, the Rolex rumour has been going around social media for days on end. It's been going around social media. And the mainstream media haven't touched it because it's just, social media talk. But now Mark Williams Thomas has brought it out with no evidence, no actual evidence. Then everybody's talking about it. The entire mainstream media is talking about it. Let's have a look. I'm gonna log off in a minute. 17 minutes ago, the Independent Forensic Police searched Tenerife House. That was yesterday. Jay Slater admitted he stole a 12k watch and was trying to sell it. So that's from Mark Williams Thomas. Barr apologises for Facebook posts mocking the missing team. Okay. So we'll see what came out in the last hour. And then I'll let you go. I mean, it's just nuts. This is crazy. What did I do? So that was yesterday. Locals urged to check these exact places near where teenager went. Jay's dad breaks his silence as he continues to search. Let's have a look at this. Jay's dad's spoken before. He's not breaking his silence. So that's just the story. All right. So after desperately spending 2 hours hiking through the ravine where Jane's phone last pinged 16 days ago, Warren admitted He's baffled by his son's disappearance and asked, why did two grown men take a young boy to a valley to a bed and breakfast? Breaking his silence on the search, Warren said, you don't just disappear. It's just ridiculous that somebody can just disappear. He's a young boy. He's fit. He's fitter than us all put together. He's played football all his life. He's fit as a flea. You don't just disappear. I don't know. It's a mystery. It's baffling. Well, you do disappear if you fall down a massive ravine. That's not a ravine. That's a path. The ravines are near the sea. Clearly emotional, Warren spoke out just hours after it was claimed Jay was scared when leaving the remote holiday rental in Masca, 20 miles from his accommodation, and allegedly told pals he couldn't return to it. The Spanish police said that the two British men, who are both understood to have been spoken to by officers before leaving the island, have no relevance to the missing persons investigation. Warren said, my only question is, and this is where you start the investigation from, why did these two grown men take a young boy to a valley? He's not a young, well, he is a young boy. He is a young boy, but he's an adult, though. He is an adult. You know, yeah, he's Warren's little boy, because he's Warren's kid, but he is a grown man. He is responsible for his own actions. It's not like he's 15 and two grown men have taken him. He was 19. He is over the age of consent, and he's responsible for his own actions. He's responsible for his own actions. But why they went there, he's right. He's right. Why they went there is a very good question. Exactly. Nobody's invincible from dehydration. Exactly. You can be the fittest person in the world. Once you get dehydrated and disoriented, that's it. You're gone. You're a goner. Warren added, Spanish police must know. It's frustrated. It's a language barrier, and you can't get mad at Spanish police because they don't like it. I've gone past the sadness bit, and I'm angry, if that makes any sense. I'm angry that nothing's happened. If I left you here and then you just disappeared, do you not think police would be on my case? Speaking with his older son, Zach, and one of Jay's uncles by his side, Warren looked out onto the vast gorge below him and said, we've been all the way down. We've walked as far as you can until it's too dangerous. So you've not gone all the way down. You've not gone all the way down. You've only gone to the point where it gets dangerous. It's the bit where it gets dangerous that Jay may have had an accident and fallen down a ravine. All I'm doing is a Columbo bit myself. Good on him. I mean, he might be on here, you never know, but as a dad, I don't want him to be. Of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't. It's his son. Warren has previously said he did not think it was a good idea for the family to search in the ravine themselves due to how dangerous it was. But with the official search over now, he and his family feel they have no choice but to hike through the treacherous terrain themselves. He yesterday suffered cuts to both of his arms and legs from walking through the treacherous terrain. He said, this is where his phone last pinged. This was the valley, and I've come to the point of no return. We've followed the path all the way down the valley. If I had mountain boots and some ropes, I would go for it, but I can't do it in Adidas sandals. No, please don't try in Adidas sandals. However, pointing to a large mountain peak in the distance, he added, if someone told me he's up that hill and you'd find him, I'd climb that effing hill and find him. Asked if the family still plan to stay in Tenerife until Jay is found, he admitted, I know his mum wants to, maybe his brother wants to, but you can't stay forever. His mum is saying if he's not found, I'm not leaving the island. But it's hard. It's so effing hard. There's no straight line to follow. They're going to have to leave at some point, aren't they? Like if he's not found, they're going to have to leave at some point because they've got jobs. Now, presumably their jobs are being very kind to them and giving them time off and probably saying, you know, take as much time as you need. But ultimately, at some point, you know, they do have to leave at some point. Asked about the police investigation, Warren said, the police here are doing their own investigations. They're not really telling us anything. They're not telling you lot anything. We're in the dark. They know best. Do you think they should still be searching? If it was in England, I'd be making a stink. But we're here in a foreign country and we've just got to leave it to people who know best. Asked if he thinks Jay may be heading towards the sea, which was visible in the distance, he said maybe. He added, I've done this trail twice now. No, you've only done it to the point where it gets dangerous. That's where Jay is, the place beyond where it got dangerous. Every step I've took there's been an opening. If you land on one of those cactuses, you're not moving. Surely somebody's going to find you after 2 weeks, not if you're down a ravine that no one has looked at. Speaking about the area below him, he said it's hundreds of square feet of this little bushy stuff. You can't explain this to somebody unless they see it. You can take a photograph or film it, but until you're here. And that's why they can't take the dogs there. The dogs can't search in places where they're going to get ripped to bits. So those areas have not even been searched by dogs either. Sonia, member for 26 months. There you're the OG. The OG. When Jay went missing, would it be daylight? Oh, yeah. Yeah. His phone last pinged at 8:49 a.m, so yeah. Drone searching is the best idea. They've done drones, Jeremiah, but the drones can't see down those ravines. Like, because there's ledges, there's caves. You can't see. If he's down one of those ravines, like under a ledge or in a cave, he's never going to be seen by a drone. He's never going to be seen from above. So Warren spoke after the former British police detective working for the family alleged Jay had been scared when he left the holiday rental where he was last seen. Mark Williams-Thomas, who's probed a string of high-profile missing persons cases, no, he's spoken on the telly about missing high-profile cases. He hasn't actually worked them. He hasn't worked them because he hasn't been a cop since the year 2000. Thank you, Purple AJ, for the 5 gifted memberships. That's so kind of you. Very kind. Stella Knights, Bug, Tina, Dina, and Laurie. Welcome. Welcome. You get a month's free membership. Go and check out the cute puppy pics and the videos over on the members area. And thank you once again, Purple AJ. So kind. And Heather Feather, member for 8 months. Sadly, they may never find him. They won't find him if he's in the sea, if he's fallen in the sea. But if he's down one of those ravines, they'll find him if they look down there. Okay, so made the claim about the apprentice bricklayer on Wednesday morning while giving a public update about his last known movements. The TV sleuth also stated that J19 said he couldn't go back to the property, which 2 Spanish police officers were seen examining while wearing forensic-style blue slip-on over their shoes on Tuesday morning. Jay travelled there with 2 older British men before his disappearance and was last seen leaving the whitewashed home named Casa Abula Tina around 8 a.m. Mr. Williams-Thomas, 54, said, we've received information that would suggest Jay left the rental property feeling scared and that he would not return to the rental, even though that would have been the most sensible course of action. Also, where he could have charged his phone and got water. Okay, so we've seen all that. Shedding new light on Jay's mindset shortly before he went missing, Mr. Williams-Thomas also alleges during the car journey with them to the property, Jay posted a video on social media boasting about the theft of a Rolex watch. So I think we know the rest of this. So we've read the statement from his mother. So I think we're done. All right, guys. Sonia, welcome. Welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Hold on. You've just been a member for 26 months and now you're a new member. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Why has it told me that you're a new member when you've been a member for 26 months? That's so weird. Can't believe he would think heading into the bush was a good idea. Yeah. I don't know. I do believe he's there, though. I really do. I believe he's there. If he's not in that ravine, the Branco, Juan, whatever it is, Juan Lopez, he's in the next one. He's in one of those ravines. I'm pretty confident of that now. And the reason why he's not been seen by any of the searchers is because they haven't gone down there. They just haven't gone down there. Did his bank balance go up? Did anyone check? I'm assuming that the cops have been able to, check his bank. I mean, look, if you're buying and selling stolen goods, you don't tend to put the money in a bank. Even I know that. You don't tend to. There's no way a teenager would just throw their phone away. No, I don't think he would throw his phone away. He might have dropped it by accident. But the phone, like, surely they'd have found the phone. Like, if the phone, had been thrown into the bushes, they'd have found the phone. They'd have found the phone. They haven't found the phone. So I think Jay is with his phone and possibly a Rolex watch down a ravine. Don't believe he was even there. No, he was there. He was there. Kyle's thoughts. Yeah, Kyle, I showed Kyle the map yesterday, and Kyle was like, why would he go there? And then he said it made sense that he was probably like chatting to people, like going like, look where I am, and people were probably like laughing and joking and daring him to go up a mountain, like, you idiot, what you doing there, go up there, why didn't you climb that mountain, and that made sense to Kyle, that maybe there was this kind of joking, people were finding it funny until it wasn't funny, but by the time it wasn't funny, it was already too, he was already in trouble. His phone had died. He was in trouble. He couldn't get out of it. And he's just succumbed. But I think it's just been a terrible, terrible accident. And I think the police are investigating, but I think they're investigating to dot the I's, cross the T's, just make sure that they're not sideswiped by something that comes out later and then they're criticized for that. But also, they potentially are investigating Jay as the criminal. Like, if it's true that what Mark Williams Thomas is saying, that Jay stole a £12,000 watch, then the cops, that's the crime. That's the crime that the cops are investigating. So I don't know. Here's an idea of $1 billion. If Michelle was to make a video 7 days a week, earning $70 per video, it would take her making a daily video for the next 35,000 years. All right, cool. I'm not going to do the math, but that's a bit of a long time, isn't it? Someone would have reported the watch missing by now. Maybe they have. Maybe they have. Maybe they have reported it missing. And the cops aren't going to release that to Mark Williams Thomas because he's not an investigator on the case. He's just somebody chatting on the internet. So maybe they have. Maybe they have reported it. And maybe that's what the police are investigating. Michelle going AI. Am I? Am I going AI? I've no idea what that means. I know what AI means, but I don't know what you mean by that. Why am I going AI? The person may have taken their watch back by force. They didn't though, did they? Because that was when he was in the club. He stole the watch when he was in the club. And then he told his friends when he was on the way to Masca. And then when he got to Masca, he left. He just left. So no, they didn't take the watch back by force. They probably didn't even know who'd stolen it. If indeed it's true that the watch was stolen. So I don't know. All right, guys, I'm gonna go. So that's the latest. That's the latest in this case. We'll wait and see what comes out tomorrow, though. So, who did he take it from? I don't know. This is a good question. This is the question that I asked at the beginning. That's why it says on my thumbnail, whose Rolex? Whose watch was it? Whoever's it was, if it's true, then they will have made a report about that. But the cops aren't going to release that because that's part of a criminal investigation. They're not going to release it. Maybe they've tried to find him. Listen, get this. Maybe they've tried to find him. Maybe they've tried so hard to find him because he's a thief and they wanted to catch him so they could arrest him. Who knows? The mind boggles. The mind boggles. And they've realised that they're not going to find him alive or even possibly find him at all, so they've given up. I don't know. All speculation, all based on the possibility of what Mark Williams Thomas said was true. We don't know. We don't know. But let's wait and see what comes out tomorrow. Pottermouse, who's been a member for 20 months. Thank you so much. Sod the watch and fine, Jay. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's still someone's son. He's someone's brother. They need him back. They need him back. And if it's true that he stole a watch, well, if he's no longer with us, I'm afraid the watch will have gone too. All right. See you tomorrow, guys. Thank you, mods. Thank you for the donations. Welcome to the new members. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.